Hello, beautiful people. It is eclipse season again. We have an eclipse this very day in much of the world. It's a lunar eclipse, which means half of the world can see the shadow on the moon at the same time. And that is awesome. It's a very global kind of phenomenon. It speaks to the collective at least as much as to the individual. That's unlike a solar eclipse. So the lunar eclipse is actually a partial one today. The moon of the shadow of the Earth doesn't completely cover the moon, not the dark part of the shadow, which is called the umbra. In Knoxville here, it just clips the top part of the moon. It starts at 10:12 p.m., Knoxville, Tennessee, and ends at 11:15 p.m. Now, for about an hour and a half on either side of that hour-long partial eclipse, there's something called a penumbral eclipse, which is where the very dim part of the shadow covers the moon. But that is hard to notice, and I'm not sure I've ever really noticed the penumbra very much. I may have had a kind of a faint glimpse of it, but it wasn't very easy to tell for sure. Now, the partial eclipse is very easy to tell. There will not be a blood red moon because it is not a full lunar eclipse. Okay, so what does this look like astrologically? The moon is in Pisces, which is a spiritual sign, and it makes us think that we should be adjusting our emotions as necessary or letting certain emotions die because it's a mutable sign, which can always deal with not only changeability but death. And it's also a spiritually service-oriented sign. Across from the moon is the sun during any lunar eclipse, but that is in Virgo, which is also a service-oriented sign, but it's more concerned about practical matters like doing your laundry. Now, this opposition between the sun and the moon um, is also an opposition between Virgo and Pisces, or practical, worldly practical, and spiritual. Now, spiritual does not mean impractical. It just is a different kind of practicality. In fact, it may be more practical depending on your point of view. I'm listening to the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna right now, and indeed, he refused to do anything practical because he was so devoted to the divine. So you always have the permission to do that. You may suffer for it in the world, but your soul will not suffer for it in the long run. Okay, so the north node of the moon is not in the same sign as the moon itself. Eclipses only happen near the lunar nodes. This is one of the nodes, but while the moon is in Pisces, the node is actually in Aries. So that's a very different kind of energy. It's like a non sequitur. The North Node is asking us all in the whole world for about a year and a half to lean into some kind of self-oriented behavior, some kind of becoming on our own terms. But the moon is asking us to serve spiritually and to get in touch with the divine that's not our normal egocentric self. So there is a little bit of an odd, it's not a tension. It's almost like they don't even see each other very well. This aspect is called a semi-sextile. When they're one sign away, they have trouble seeing each other at all. So the eclipse moon is telling us one thing, but the kind of destiny that we're trying to move into, lean into, is telling us another. Now that's okay. I just want you to note that it's not like it's all full steam ahead on our goals in life. It's much more complex and nuanced than that. Also notice, let's go back, let's clear the screen. Notice that the moon is sandwiched in between these two guys, Saturn and Neptune. The moon has just passed Neptune in the past day, and that was asking us to be responsible with our feelings and to be responsible for our boundaries. But it's coming up very close to Neptune. In fact, it's much closer to Neptune, which is a very dreamy planet and asks us, first of all, Neptune's very happy in Pisces. Those two support each other. It's the modern day ruler of Pisces. So Neptune in Pisces is inviting us to be use our imagination and to use our dreams. And so the moon is coming out of Saturn's practical matter of fact attitude and moving into Neptune's imaginal realm. So we have a chance to kind of mix these two today. And remember, eclipses, the effect of eclipses, generally most astrologers think of eclipses as lasting a half a year because there's a half a year between eclipse seasons. So it's not like you have to do this today. So just in general, like open yourself up to mixing the imaginal realm and the realistic realm more effectively. An example might be using AI. And AI is highly imaginal any other time in the history of the universe, and now it's a reality. So I myself have just opened up into using AI. I had a conversation with Eshwar, the astrologer, a couple times in the past week, and it's fascinating. He's not quite as savvy as I was hoping, but he is in fact quite amazing. I do like Eshwar a lot. So I think that's all I'll say for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed the eclipse. You should go watch the eclipse if you can, if there's no clouds. It's been raining today in Knoxville, and I'll catch you on the other side.